Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to our English News Edition, coming to you from Canal, Algérie, to the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, grants an official reception to the President of the European Council, Charles Michel, at the Presidency of the Republic. The President of the Republic holds face-to-face talks with the President of the European Council and others extended to include the delegation accompanying him. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ramtan Al-Amamra, receives the UN personal envoy of the Secretary General for Western Sahara, Staffan de Mistura, on a visit to Algeria. Internationally, strikes and demonstrations threaten the new academic year in Morocco. The difficult situation pushes more and more young people to illegal immigration. The national football team progresses to the final game of the Arab Under-17 Cup, being held in Algeria with their meritorious victory over Saudi Arabia after penalty shootout. Good evening. Those were today's headlines. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, granted an official reception to the President of the European Council, Charles Michel, the premises of the Presidency of the Republic. The President of the Republic held face-to-face talks with the President of the European Council. Later on, the President of the Republic held extended talks with the President of the European Council and the delegation accompanying him. Present on the Algerian side were the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Ramtan Al-Amamra, the Principal Private Secretary at the Presidency of the Republic, Abdelaziz Khalaf, the Energy Minister, Mohamed Arqab, and the Minister of Trade, Kamal Razik. Following the audience, Charles Michel had this to say to reporters.
I am honored to hold a meeting with the President of the Republic. We share the ambition of relations quality renewal between Algeria and the European Union. The partnership agreement is a framework that allowed both sides to determine the joint priorities in the mutual interests. We considered that the international circumstances that the energy cooperation is very essential. And as we see that Algeria is a reliable, loyal partner and engaged in the field of energy cooperation matters. Also, we have a common ambition for stability, security, and prosperity. We also reviewed the situation related to neighborhood and the geopolitical context. This meeting was fruitful and useful, and I am extremely optimistic about the relations between Algeria and the European Union, respecting the ambitions and the priorities of Algeria and working harder to develop and strengthen this partnership to the benefit of the citizens on both sides.
The President of the European Council later went to the Martyrs Sanctuary in Algiers, where he laid a wreath in front of the commemorative stele and observed a minute of silence in the memory of the martyrs of the glorious War of National Liberation. The President of the European Council also visited the National Mujahid Museum, where detailed explanations were given to him on the different phases that marked the history of Algeria. Charles Michel also had the opportunity to have a look on the beautiful scenery of Algiers Bay. The President of the European Council, Charles Michel, also headed to the Great Mosque of Algiers, where he visited the different facilities of the mosque, where detailed explanations were provided to him concerning this unique religious and cultural architectural masterpiece. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Ramtalla Mamra, received on Monday the UN Personal Envoy of the Secretary General for Western Sahara, Stéphane de Mistura, on a visit to Algeria. The meeting took place in the presence of the Special Envoy in charge of the issue of Western Sahara and the Maghreb countries, Ammar Bilani. During this meeting, the two parties examined the latest developments of the Sahrawi cause and the prospects to reinforce the UN efforts with a view to resuming direct negotiations between the parties of the conflict, the Kingdom of Morocco and the Polisario Front, with the objective of reaching a fair and lasting political solution that is accepted by both parties and which guarantees allowing the Sahrawi people to exercise their inalienable and enduring right to self-determination. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies also known as OPEC Plus, held on Monday via video conference its 32nd ministerial meeting with the participation of the Minister of Energy, Mohammed Arqab. The 23 countries decided to reduce the level of global oil production of the alliance with 100,000 barrels a day for the upcoming October. The Energy Minister Mohammed Arqab made the following statement.
Nous avons décidé de réduire la production globale des pays OPEC.
We decided to reduce the global output of OPEC and non-OPEC countries by 100,000 barrels per day, meaning that the 100,000 barrels added the last time for September, we subtract them for October. This has helped cut off 2,000 barrels per day. As a result, the national oil production is 1,057,000 barrels per day.
57,000 barils par jour.
As part of the efforts to take in charge the victims of the fires, the Algerian Red Crescent received a humanitarian aid shipment estimated with more than 14,000 tons, made up essentially of basic foodstuffs provided by the Turkish Red Crescent. A 180% increase in non-hydrocarbon exports was recorded at the port of Iran this year, namely concerning clinker and iron. More details with Manal Ammari.
The expansion of the container terminal of the port of Iran gave a new dynamic to the cargo department. The biggest export operation of construction materials was completed during the current year, with the volume increasing by 180%, according to officials. Compared to last year, the Iran Port Company recorded around 2,600,000 tons in terms of export volume of goods, namely clinker and iron, towards Europe, Africa, the US, and Canada. The considerable increase of the export volume pushed managers to accelerate the finalization of development projects for a better handling of goods and the maximum exploitation of the container terminal that is built according to international standards. The works of the container terminal are now completed and it is fully operational. Concerning the export of clinker, the Iran Port Company acquired shiploader equipment for €3,400,000, which will be delivered next December. The Port of Iran will know a significant increase in export activities following the entry into service of the expressway leading into the East-West Freeway.
The El Jaish magazine highlighted in its editorial that the success being witnessed by Algeria is the outcome of the President's broad vision and wise strategy, notably in terms of security and stability. Rania Al-Bahri with the details.
Algeria is a trusted partner was the banner of the editorial of El Jaish magazine in its latest issue. The article mentioned that Algeria's remarkable presence at the international level through the participation of the National People's Army at the highest level in the 10th Symposium on International Security held in Moscow in the Russian Federation mid-August. The editorial confirmed that the Army General Said Shengriha, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, advocated during this symposium solidarity and the crisis in Africa and the world in view of the security challenges faced by Africa and Sahel region in particular. The Army General stressed in his speech that the African continent is living a situation of political and economic stability as a result of the security and economic challenges, which call for support, accompanying the efforts of the international community to confront these challenges and various forms of organized crime. The Army General called on his speech the international community to focus on human security and to take care of the deep causes of crisis in the world and Africa, and to strengthen military capabilities in the field of combating terrorism and transnational crimes, included in the framework of the International Military Games 2022. Finally, the editorial of El Jaish magazine confirmed that the success achieved at all levels is the fruit of the rational policy of the President of the Republic, the Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, Abdelmajid Tebboune, and his wise vision on regional and international issues. The successive visits to our country by presidents and heads of governments are telling evidence of the trust placed in Algeria as a key partner, willing to share its successful experience in fighting terrorism and establishing peace and solving various conflicts in the continent.
Morocco is going through an unprecedented social and economic crisis with ongoing protests in several areas, particularly the education sector. Manal Ammari tells us more.
In Morocco, the new academic year was marked by the upsurge of protests by contractual teachers demanding their legitimate rights, while expressing the refusal to work under contract and demanding their integration into the public sector. Until now, no measures were taken by the competent department to find real solutions to their demands. 20 teachers were arrested in Rabat. They're currently still at the police station. In their effort to put an end to these protests, more teachers were arrested today, but their numbers remain unknown. A national strike is planned for September 26th on the sidelines of the trial of 45 teachers in Rabat, in addition to the organization of another protest by members of the National Coordination Council and the Committee for the Support of Prosecuted Teachers. Moroccans also continue to denounce the deterioration of their living conditions as well as the price hike via various protests and demonstrations. They are also calling out the Makhzen regime for its complete silence and incapacity to address the citizens' concerns. A so-called resigning government held accountable for the social and economic degradation of the country, and the people are calling for a radical change. These price hikes are extreme, and we're demanding the departure of Aziz Akhnouch and his government. The people are oppressed and cannot continue to bear the current situation, reflected through the high number of suicide victims. The government also needs to reduce the prices of necessary foodstuffs, such as oil, semolina, and flour. The people have been led astray, and Akhnouch has to leave. According to several Moroccan politicians, the Makhzen regime is now facing an unprecedented economic and social crisis that made the country unbearable for many Moroccans.
Illegal immigration is gaining momentum in Morocco, a situation neglected by the Makhzen media outlets to hide the harsh living conditions of Moroccans who keep fleeing their homeland. Rania Al-Bahri tells us more.
An Another new tragedy in Morocco. 34 young Moroccans perished after the sinking of their boat in the Atlantic Ocean. According to local media outlets, an inflatable boat left the coast of Jdida city, southern Casablanca, on Monday, with 40 people on board to join the Spanish enclave. The deceased are from Fqih bin Saleh, a small city in the center of Morocco. These young people have chosen illegal immigration because of the difficult socio-economic conditions. According to human rights activist Marwan Sammoudi, who also denounced the policy of the Makhzen, the high cost of living, the rise in the prices of basic foodstuffs, hard living conditions, a difficult daily life, and increasingly frequent repression and obstacles to individual and collective freedoms. Marwan Sammoudi, who underlines moreover that the Makhzen didn't react vis-à-vis this disastrous situation. It is clear that clandestine immigration took important and tragic proportions in Morocco since last August, in particular in Melilla and Ceuta Spanish enclaves. It's no longer a matter of few illegal immigrants trying to infiltrate, but thousands of desperate young Moroccans who risk their lives storming the fences making the border between Morocco and the Spanish enclaves.
The national football team progressed to the final game of the Arab Under-17 Cup being held in Mostaganem and Mascara provinces following their victory over the Saudi squad after penalty shootout 5-3. The Desert Warriors will take on in the closing match Morocco, which beat Yemen with 2-0. We wrap up our news edition from Laghouat province, where cinema halls are put at the disposal of talented young filmmakers willing to enrich their frail experience in the realm of movies. Najah Tayyar.
In addition to the annual film showing, Mizzi Cinema, located in Laghouat province, welcomes young filmmakers, authors of short films in the image of young Rashid. I started in this field 7 years ago. It was a period of my life when I was still looking for a niche that would present me, and what is better than cinema to make hear what I have to say to the world. So I started to write and train. Also, I had the chance to meet with the well-known directors in Algeria and abroad. Despite his career, Rashid has participated in several national and international cinema events. He aspires all to learn to produce and direct movies. I have already represented Algeria abroad, in Egypt, Tunisia, United States, and in Bahrain. I have represented Laghouat province in numerous festivals. Such lofty initiatives are to encourage and help these young talented filmmakers to enrich their experience, to direct their own movies in a professional way, and to help promote cinema in Algeria still lagging behind.
And with that, we wrap up our news bulletin. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.